Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MySpace podcast. I'm your host, Smiley, and today I will be reviewing the book Mistborn, The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 3 of the Mistborn Saga, the last book of the original trilogy, because there are other parts of the series as well, but I'm just going to read the original. So okay, let's get into it, shall we? Rating. So I give this book a 7 out of 10. I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. I don't remember that much about it because it took me like 3 weeks to read this book. Mind you, I was also busy with a lot of things, but like still 3 weeks. Books never take me that long. And it's like 16 to like 18 hours long. That's how long it was. Kind of, honestly, I probably have a lot of books that are like that too. I just like them more, so it didn't take me as long. Because I just read it at home. I was also doing other things. I was doing some other things I was working on, so that's also it. So I was writing instead of reading and stuff. And also doing homework. Shall we continue with this rating, though? So yeah, it took me a long time, so I don't remember a lot. I do remember that I wasn't a fan of the beginning because it was just things were seeming repetitive. And I mean from the other books, because something kept happening. And, like, I make it sound like in all the other books I read, things don't happen. But I don't know what it just felt like. It just felt like, in a way, I feel like it felt like things kept happening. And those things just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's kind of like why TV shows end. In movies. Because the things that just keep getting bigger and bigger. And also in books, too. It just gets so big that it's kind of just, like, unrealistic, you know? Like, already this book wasn't realistic. I'm not really talking about realistic here. So it was just like one thing after another, and people kept having an identity crisis, so that was fun. Like every book. Vin in the first two, and then in this one it's Elend and Sazed? Maybe? Hopefully that's his name. I know how to spell it. I just don't know how to say it. And also, it just it got a little crazy. Like, it's well written, and I'm pretty sure it's all put together really well. Pretty sure. I'm tired. It's just, things got crazy because especially when it gets to the God stuff, because that's taking another step up from where we were. So I'm like, and also I think also part of it is that I started making the story up in my head because I didn't know. I started making up my own story, and of course it's not anywhere near the story that's in the book. So I was kind of sad, but that's just my fault because I was getting bored. So I started making stuff up. Yeah. So good book. I just got bored of it. Oh, my eye. Okay, you like my nails? Crazy. I haven't ruined them, but also I got them done at a nail salon, so you know. POV stays first person and it switches between different people. I just thought I wanted to add that. I'm not going to make a little section on that though. Plot/storyline. So, this book starts a year after the last one, the second book. There's always like a year gap. So there was a year gap between the first and the second, and now there's a year gap between the second and this one. It gets confusing because then you have to like be like, oh, we're like a year in the future. So many other things have happened. So I'm like, Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. I can't think of it like this. And there's always big, like, character changes within these people. And you're always just like, when did this happen? Oh, right. In the year that we, like, weren't here. What the? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, sorry. I can't hear myself speaking. The audio's cutting out. Where was I? Okay. Oh, that's not how you spell his name. Mind you guys, I was making this notes at like midnight last night. So, that's great. Not midnight for when this comes out, but yeah. Okay, so the whole premise of this story is that Elend and Vin are trying to get a hold of these storage caches, which the Lord Ruler had built because he knew that the end of the world would come eventually, and he wanted to make sure his people at least survived a little longer. So he stocked them up with food, water, and other necessities. They also have metal plaques on the wall that have messages from the Lord Ruler that say things that could help them. Some of the things that they already knew said they were so basically in this whole thing they're hoping that the last storage cache, I think it's the 5th one, I think it's only 5 of them, holds the answer to how to save the world. In the beginning, first part of this book is they take over this city to get the 4th storage cache, which leads them to the last one, to the 5th one. Each one of the storage caches leads to a different storage cache. Cat? Yeah. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. It's okay. They then end up splitting up. Breeze and Saz go to another city. It starts with a U, but I was lazy and didn't want to go find the name. And Elend and Vin with most of the army go to... Oh, I already forgot this one. It starts with an F. Ferrex? So they go to the other city, the one that houses the final cache. Storage cavern. I should just call it a storage cavern. That's what it is. Oh, I was gonna say something. So, also, Breeze and Saz also have, like, maybe 1,000 men with them. So they're going to a city that isn't under their control, and they're going to try to get it under their control. So, also at that city is Spook, who has been gathering info to relay to them. Will relate to Vin and Elend. To get control of the city, things happen. Not really any good things. Well, it seems good in the moment, but doesn't end up good, you know? I saw what happened coming, but also, like, you get information. Oh my gosh, I literally forgot to talk about this. So, at the beginning of every chapter, there's this little expert from a writing thing that somebody wrote that pertains to the story. So you do end up figuring out what it's a part of later, but at the end, usually. So it gives you little pieces of information that the characters themselves don't know yet. So you know more about what's going to happen. So that's how I knew and saw coming. I didn't know, like, how it was going to happen, but I knew what was happening. So that's how I knew. And then also, in the end, they do gain control of the city. We all knew that was going to happen. Now to Elend and Vin. So, plan A was to find a diplomatic way, like form an alliance with the city. Plan B and C were a siege and then an attack, respectively. From what happened in all the other books, we can infer that none of these plans will work out. At multiple points in this book, but also all around the same time, Vin has multiple enlightenments about Ruin in how to, like, maybe win and trick him. A whole bunch of things happen. Then the ending with his own amount of craziness occurs. The ending actually, honestly, like, I wish there was kind of more in a way, but I feel like it really ended nicely. Like, it brought everything together, and of course it doesn't end in the way that you want it to end, but like, it was just a nice ending. Like, there's not really any loose ends. There's one loose end. I'll get to that, because I don't remember that happen. Anyways, I should have probably looked, but I didn't. Yeah. Vin. Get to the characters, and we're going to Vin first. Yes. Girl powers. Okay, so in the first and second book, she found out who she was, so she wasn't going through an identity crisis. She had finished that. But Ellen was. She was, in this book, she was more worried about trying to beat Ruin. So that's what she was trying to do. The thing about Vin is that she's not a scholar per se, but she's probably smarter than all of them. And I tried to explain this, but I may not explain it well. So she sees and understands what most people don't. And I think that's because she grew up on the streets, living on the bad side of the world, trying to survive. And she didn't live in the pampered life of the nobility, which are basically where the scholars are. So I think that gives her smarts, and it's what makes her smarter than the scholars, because she's able to take what she knows and put it to the world, and she knows how it's going to affect the world and how there are other factors as well, while the scholars in these books tend to only be able to see what they learn through their education, which is just reading books. So they only know what their books say, and they can't put it into real life, and they can't see all the other factors that could affect. So really, it's just Vin's instincts are what makes her smarter, or make her smarter. Yeah, because it's not plural. To Ellen now. So, during this whole book, he's trying to find a balance within himself. This is his identity crisis, y'all. So, he's the emperor, but also a scholar. And he doesn't know how these two pieces fit together. Also add into the Mistborn too, because he's now a Mistborn. So, he's an emperor who has to do what's right for the people, so he maybe has to go to war, kill people, do bad things that he wouldn't normally do, that he feels guilty about doing. And the scholar in him is all want to do good and blah 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 blah, he has this view on the world, it's his two sides. It's the side that he knows of the things, he knows he has to do this, and then he doesn't want to do it sides, the nice and the you have to because the world is ending, if that makes sense. So Ellen is really kind, and he's a good soul. So you can see how these sides are fighting against each other. He does find a balance though at some point. And also, even though there are times where he makes a decision that will probably end up killing a bunch of people, probably will, he tends to not actually go through with that decision. Sometimes though, he knows it's best to do it. If everything were to work out good for them, some of this would have actually helped making that decision not to go through. But nothing ever works out until the end. However, he is also led by his emotions, which is part of the reason why he makes some of the decisions he makes. One particular time is coming to my head, which is why I wrote this. And it's part of the reason why he makes some of the decisions he makes. And then after he calms down and is able to think about other things, he changes his mind, usually because he then goes what would Vin do? A big thing about this book was that it relied on both of Alan and Vin having complete trust in each other, which they do have. So it shows how they even though they don't know what the other is doing, they trust that they're doing the right thing. Okay. Sazed. I can't. So I want to talk about him because he has a big character thing in this. So he had lost faith about there being any type of god in this world because I think her name is Tindwillen, because I didn't write that. I don't really remember what her name was. She had died in the end of the second book, and he's like asking the world, like, why could you do this to me, and blah 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 blah. Like, I feel like those are like usual feelings that people have, even if like you don't have somebody that's died, somebody close to you that's died. It's just those are normal feelings in a way, especially when you're a teenager, and also if you have depression, I think. Because he was going through some stuff. He had some depression going on there. He's going through all of the religions he knows, trying to find the answer of why she has died and what's happened to her, and trying to find an actual answer. But he couldn't find one because they all had inconsistencies among other things. So they never could give him an actual answer, and something was always wrong. So he was all like, there's no answer. But then in the end, he does end up getting his faith and belief back. And this is mainly because of Vin. And not even her doing anything. It's just her being who she is, kind of. It's also just like, he kind of thought about it. He's like, I don't really remember. I just read this last night. How do I not remember? But he just had this whole epiphany moment while all alone. It was like, gotta believe again. So many of the characters in these books going through identity crises. I'm not gonna stop all in the head. Spoilers. Okay, we're gonna start with Ruin, because why not? So he can hear and see everything. He can change words. He can do a lot of things. Except he can't see anything on metal. Metal is basically just a blinding light to him. Like, he can see it. He can't see any detail about it. He doesn't know what metal it is or anything. Sorry, I just spoke up. The metal spikes, which is also still a part of the ruin stuff. And basically, the spikes give a person powers, basically. And most of them come from killing somebody with it. Yeah. Especially the Inquisitors. Like, the Inquisitors, you have to kill somebody with that spike in a specific spot too, and then it has to go into your own skin, and that's how you get that power. The Colossus, they give their spikes, to humans that are dead or dying, I think, which turns them into monsters, and like people that into these giants that don't really have feelings, and then the Conjure also have one spike, so it makes it makes it a little harder for Ruin to control them, and also makes them seem inconsequential when really they're double agents in a way. Another thing about these metal spikes is that the more one has and the longer that they have it in them, the more Ruin can control them. So if you only have one spike, he can like talk in your head and pull on your emotions and stuff, just trying to control you. Really, he's just trying to manipulate you. He can't actually control you. So, but we're going but first. But if you're like an Inquisitor or Kolos, he can't control you. I believe he can also control Kandra, but they have a whole thing written into them where it's like they have to end up kind of killing themselves. He's also looking for the adium in this book, which is, so the adium is the power of preservation stole from Ruin to make Ruin more equal in power to preservation. Preservation is the other god who's dead. So yeah, that's what he's looking for. He's looking for his other power, and once he gets his other power, he can then destroy the world. So spikes. He got a spike to Penrod, who's ruling Luthadel while Elend's away. He got a spike in Spook and was leading Spook to destroy the city. So this is why all the bad stuff happened. And then in the end, when it was almost too late, Spook realized kind of what was happening and took the spike out, and they saved the city. They almost destroyed that city. Vin also has an earring. That earring is a spike. I realized that. I knew both of those things. I was like, that's gotta be what's happening, because she can hear him in her head. So Ruin had manipulated Vin's mom into placing the spike into Vin's ear by killing her daughter, Vin's younger sister. So whenever the earring was in her ear, Ruin could talk to her and manipulate her into doing what he wanted her to do. And because she was wearing that earring a lot, because Kelser told her to wear that earring, he was able to definitely control, in a way, the Mist. So they're the power of preservation. As preservation is now dead, destroyed by Ruin. Preservation did a lot. He kind of put Ruin in a jail cell, in a way. So now, by doing that, he basically split up his mind, his consciousness so much, and when Ruin was let out, he was able to destroy Preservation, basically. Preservation made the Mist, and they were to help awaken Alamancian people. Excuse me. So the Mist were there to help. Were there to awaken Alamancian. And so when people fall to the Mist getting sick, it is to wake up the Alamancian within them to help fight against Ruin. Now to ending. Ooh, okay, we're gonna try to get through this. Probably not gonna make it in time. So Vin plans to trap Ruin, who wants the adium. They still don't know where it is, but he thinks she knows where it is because she's kind of tricking him. This is her trick. And she's also hoping to be able to use the Mist, because she's been able to use the Mist, but yeah, that doesn't really happen. Then she basically has to fight against 13 Inquisitors. Not an easy task. She almost dies. It's not an easy task, especially when they have a whole lot of other stuff with them. So she almost dies. Marsh finally is able to enact part of his plan to fight against Ruin, because Ruin has complete control over his mind. But in this one moment, when it matters most, he doesn't do what he was planning to do, but he rips Vin's earring out, which was one of Ruin's spikes, right? And that spike was making it so Preservation couldn't touch Vin. And so when the spike was out, Vin was able to take in the Mist, the power of Preservation, and she kills all the Inquisitors except Marsh, and then she becomes a god, because now she has all of Preservation's power within her. But Ruin is still just trying to destroy the world. So, I don't know. And their powers are too equally matched to do any good. For her to do any good. So she can't really destroy him. So, Vin leads Elend on. She tries to lead him as much as she can to make sure Ruin doesn't get the adium. So she tries to lead Elend to where the adium is, which actually works. because like I said, the iridium is the rest of Ruin's power. Ruin also at this time is marching a bunch of Kolos to their doorstep. If you don't remember what those are just giants who are very hard to kill, kind of. So Ellen has also, oh my gosh, I'm so tired that I keep yawning, which is kind of weird because I don't feel tired. Ellen has realized that the mist has given the fallen soldiers powers, allomancy, and he realizes what power that is because none of the soldiers can burn any of the regular metal, but they were also the soldiers that fell to the mist the longest, 16 days, and iridium was the 16th metal. So those soldiers can burn iridium, and they Ellen comes up with the suicide mission where they use up all the iridium against fighting the Kolos, which effectively uses all of Ruin's power in the moment, so he'd have to wait another 1,000 years to get it, because it doesn't destroy the power, it just uses the power and gives it back to the in a way gives it back to the pits, which creates the iridium, which is just giving off a little bit of Ruin's power. It's how the power is kind of held. That's a horrible way of explaining it, but yeah. So Ruin can't get to it because now the iridium is used up and his power needs to regenerate. And then in 1,000 years he can get it again. They succeed in doing that. Marsh then appears and fights Ellen. And Vin gives him kind of an infinite amount of allomancy in the moment, just trying to help him. She basically just kind of, in a way, it's just kind of giving him medals while she's a god. But in the end, Marsh ends up killing Ellen. And I think at some point, Marsh dies. Also, I can definitely tell that the light out there is getting not as bright. The sun's not shining as much, so that... Okay, but I have to stop. Gotta stay on this. Woo! Sorry, I get really interested in my camera. So yeah, lighting's different, but it's okay. So at some point, I think Marsh also dies, but I don't remember reading that he died. He just kind of he disappears. Because Ellen doesn't kill him. Ellen doesn't end up killing him. He literally just disappears. So I don't know what happened to him. Maybe when Vin killed, yeah. So Vin is all I already said goodbye to him a year ago at the Well of Ascension when he almost died. And she's not at all this whole thing doesn't affect her at all, kind of. And so I'm just wow. And she's this is the worst thing you could have done because you just killed the only thing that I was continuing to live for. And then she attacks him and kills Ruin. But by killing Ruin, she's also killing herself. The Ruin basically helped create the things that could destroy them because he helped create people that are both the preservation and Ruin, and that's the only way that Ruin could be killed. So preservation full on tricked Ruin. Meanwhile, Saz is saying that Vin will come and help them because she's the hero of ages, so she's gonna come, but she dies, and then he's oh no, she's dead, and he realizes the truth of who the hero actually is, and guess what, it's him. Oh, and also I just full on went over the whole Vin died too, so yeah, Ellen and Vin are both dead. Okay, why does lighting have to be like this? Okay, never mind. Vin and Ellen are both dead. Both died trying to save the world. Saz realized that the hero of ages actually applies to him because it says all these other things, it has, it's it says it how I think it basically says the hero of ages will have the knowledge of a whole bunch of things, right? So he has to take on both powers and then fix the world with all the knowledge he has gained because of his metal mines and all because of the religions he studied, right? And because of all these religions, he he's able to fix the world, bringing it back to what it used to be. So basically kind of how the world is now. He also fixes Spook because Kelsier wished for him to be fixed. He can't bring back Elend and Vin, but they're kind of like happy dead, I think. That's what he said. So he could talk to the dead. So yeah, Saz became God. He left them a whole bunch of books about like everything he knew. So to help them kind of rebuild, because he's just gone. He's gone, and he's now gonna watch over the world. So he kind of became that thing that he didn't think that there was, that he didn't have any faith in, and now so they have to rebuild the world, and that's then. So it kind of like, even though Elend and Vin are both dead and they're not coming back, I feel like everything was kind of brought together in the end. So yeah, and there's other books too that I think there's going to be a series that comes after this, like years in the future. So, you know, that's it. I have my next book already ready. My mom got it for me. I've been waiting for this book forever. Cute. Like, I feel like it's getting darker, and it's only like, it's 9:20 in the morning. It shouldn't be getting darker. It should be getting brighter. So I got Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to read this book forever. So that's the next on the list. I may finish it in a day. We don't want that to happen though, because I'm trying to make it so the videos kind of line up more together, but that's not really happening because we're kind of getting there, because the next video is like, comes out at the end of this month. So, you know, this video is probably coming out at the beginning of July though. Yeah. And so yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching and listening, and have a good rest of your day, night, week, month, year, life. Thank you and goodbye.